Yeah, I have. Canelo a big dude, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I believe in my abilities. He's a heavy dude, but he's not a big guy. Like he's 5'8", I'm 5'8", you know what I mean? My arm's longer than his, you know. That fight it'd be good. You won't get hit in the fight. You know, that's one thing we all know. And I believe in my abilities and I believe in myself that I can handle anything that any fighter.
It's still 6 months before their store fight comes up, yet Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford have begun heating up the atmosphere ahead of their super fight. In September, the pair had a meeting with Turki Alalshikh earlier today, and the meeting soon became the opposite of what it was meant to do. Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford clashed, and a brawl almost broke out, a brawl that Turki Alalshikh wouldn't have been able to do anything about. Their meeting with Turki Alalshikh in Saudi Arabia was to finalize details on their mega matchup. However, the pair met at the airport in Saudi Arabia as they made it to Turkey's residence. The teams of both fighters had expected them to show mutual respect to each other. After all, there was never any beef. One thing both fighters always did while they were calling each other out and anticipating a clash was to show mutual respect to themselves. However, things soon changed when Terence Crawford approached
Canelo in Riyadh and made the big fight.
This led to Crawford making more efforts to approach him as he was almost physically attacked by Canelo, and then Terence became mad. They both began raging words at each other and were ready to fight dirty, but of course none of the fighters was alone. They both had members of their teams jump on between them to separate them. The authorities at the airport also helped in ensuring that we didn't see a bigger fight before the big fight in September. They then made their way separately to Turkey Alalshikh's residence, where it's believed the Saudi boxing mogul must have settled the between two fighters. All three of them, Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez, and Turki Alalshikh, were all seen in a picture that was posted on Turki Alalshikh's social media page. The boxing world needed a historic fight to heat things up this year, and with the help of Turki Alalshikh, the fight was delivered at the perfect time. Canelo Alvarez, alongside the former undisputed champion from Omaha, Nebraska, have had several meetings with Saudi boxing mogul Turki Alalshikh, but beyond the meetings, they've now spiced things up with some heated exchange between them. For a fight that'll be deemed the match of the year, fans want as much chaos and fierceness as possible. Well, Crawford and Canelo Alvarez know how to give fans what they want, and they're doing just that. Riyadh season, Turki Alalshikh has been at the forefront of negotiations between both fighters' camps as he looks to finalize.
Excellency didn't seem as into this in the past, and now last night seems very on board making this happen. What changed on his end?
I don't know. You have to ask him. You know, I think it's a very intriguing fight. You know, Canelo and me is the same height. I got longer reach than Canelo. I'm faster than Canelo. But Canelo is bigger than me. He's stronger than me. So we both giving away something, but we both gaining something at the same.
Canelo was said to be initially reluctant in taking a fight against the 37-year-old from Omaha, but it appears the Mexican icon has changed his mind and is now gearing up for this challenge. It's believed that Turki Alalshikh must have done some underground work and enticed Canelo Alvarez with some huge purse to bring him to terms with such a big fight, despite the fact that Canelo Alvarez has a match fixed in May, as he plans to fight against William Skull during the Cinco de Mayo weekend. It's his fight against Terence Crawford that is stealing the headlines.
He says, well, no make sense when you guys say that right now. At the end of the day, I don't want to have credit to face Crawford, but you never know. You never know in boxing. I'll go up and down and fight everybody out there. So it's possible. Why not?
Brings at me or throw at me. You know, I gotta be able to believe in myself if I'm gonna get in the ring with you. I can't go in the ring thinking, oh man, if this guy hit me, he's gonna knock me out, or if this guy hit me, he's gonna break my ribs. So now, you know, if he was talking about Deontay Wilder or something.
Speaking on the fight, during an interview with a reputable boxing platform, the 34-year-old revealed he was in for the clash with Bud, admitting he won't get any credit at the end of the day. I won't have any credit if I face Crawford, but you never know. In boxing, I go up and down and fight everybody out there. So it's possible. Why not? It's possible. He then continued, "I respect Crawford, he's a great fighter. I always say that no disrespect to him. Sometimes it's a little crazy that people talk about a small fighter like Charlo, which is big, and then everybody is talking about, if I'm going to face Crawford, a fighter at 147 who is smaller than Charlotte, it makes no sense, it makes no sense. But you guys say that right now, this was almost a repeat of an interview he had earlier where he said, I'm in why not? I think Crawford, don't get me wrong, he's a great fighter, but for me, in my weight class, it's an easy fight for me, easy money. If the money is right, I'm in. Because, you know, I don't like to fight guys like Crawford because he moves a lot and the fight is not that great. I saw Crawford in the last fight and he doesn't move that much now. So yeah, if the money is right, I'm in.
History of boxing in September, then 2 more fights in 26. Don't miss with the line.
Message, you know, it's all respect over here, you know, and if, you know, he do decide to come our way and me and him get in the ring, then it'll be an electrifying fight, you know. It won't be like any other fight that he's fought recently, and it'd be a well-fought fight for both of us, I believe.
Ain't doubt in your mind that you beat him?
Of course I beat him. It ain't no doubt in my mind that I won't beat anybody.
It's been a different feeling for Terence Crawford, who had been pursuing the fight against Canelo Alvarez ever since his win against Errol Spence at the 147B welterweight division that saw him become the undisputed welterweight champion. I've been wanting to fight. It's a legacy fight. It's the biggest fight in box today. I feel like the fight is the last of the Mohicans. I think the fight would be massive. You've got 2 guys who are top 3 pound for pound.
I really have to worry about, but who knows? Once we get in the ring, we don't know how I'll handle his punching power, his size. I've been fighting bigger guys my whole life, so I'm pretty familiar with that aspect of the game.
No comment. Your reaction to that, and that seems like that you do want this fight now.
Well, I've been wanting to fight, you know. I feel as if that's a legacy fight. I feel as if, you know, this is the biggest fight in boxing today.
As he prepares for the fight in 6 months' time, the former undisputed champion from Omaha, Nebraska acknowledges he'll have some challenges. He said he will certainly have to be aware of Canelo's size and power, but he also touched on his readiness for the fight and the different weapons he was going to bring on fight night. Interestingly, Terence...
I'm saying that everybody that believes in hardcore boxing fans, they know Crawford can beat Canelo just like they knew Bud was gonna beat Spence. It's real simple. Real simple. You just gotta know boxing in order for you to be able to say that.
Coach,
this fight right here is like the last of the Mohicans. You know, we both coming in an era where Floyd Mayweather was #1 pound for pound, Showtime, and HBO era, that type of era. So
a small fighter like Charlo, he's big, which he's big, and everybody's talking about if I'm gonna face Crawford, fighter 147, who is smaller than Charlo.
What makes a potential Canelo-Crawford fight particularly poignant is the fact that each man's Hall of Fame-worthy career is likely winding down. The 34-year-old Canelo has literally been fighting professionally for nearly 20 years, earning an eyebrow-raising record of 6,222. Some of those fights, especially Canelo Alvarez's 2 controversial battles with Gennady Golovkin, have unquestionably led to some wear and tear. As for Crawford at 37 years of age, he's not getting any younger, with a considerable 41 fights under his belt. Suffice to say, the man has never lost in the ring scene. Through a certain lens, a Canelo-Crawford match makes a considerable amount of sense, for it's worth wondering what mountains are left for each man to climb. Both of these fighters know what it's like to be an undisputed champion in an era when there are far too few undisputed champions to be found. Each fighter also knows what it's like to fight under the bright lights. Canelo's been in numerous legit super fights against Golovkin and Floyd Mayweather respectively, while Crawford finally appeared in his first super fight when he crushed fellow welterweight titleist Errol Spence in 9 rounds of a one-sided combat. Crawford, who last fought at super welterweight, would have to jump 2 full weight divisions to challenge super middleweight King Canelo in what would be one of the biggest fights in recent memory. Alvarez lost his undisputed status at 168 pounds when he was stripped by the International Boxing Federation, with unheralded Cuban William Skull later picking up the belt. And before he faces Terence Crawford in September, he promised Turki Alalshikh during his press conference with William Skull that he was going to reclaim the International Boxing Federation belt from Skull. The goal is simple. Turki Alalshikh wants to ensure that Canelo Alvarez's fight against Terence Crawford is an undisputed world super middleweight championship match, which means Canelo needs the belt from William Skull to make it happen. Ahead of the fight, Terence "Bud" Crawford is fully aware of the physical disadvantage he would face against Canelo, acknowledging that size will play a crucial role in the fight. However, he remains confident in his ability to overcome this challenge and impose his boxing style. Many boxing analysts have expressed skepticism about Crawford's ability to compete effectively at super middleweight. This stems in part from his most recent fight, a points victory over Israel Madrimov at super welterweight, which lacked the dominant display many expected. 15. Regardless of these concerns, the potential bout between Canelo and Crawford has captivated the imagination of boxing fans. The blend of power, speed, technique, and charisma from both fighters sets the stage for what could be an unforgettable spectacle between Crawford and Canelo. Canelo Alvarez has established a tradition of having 2 fights a year, May and September, the latter on the weekend that celebrates Mexico's independence. Since 2022, he has scheduled his fights in these 2 months, and he's set to do so again in 2025. Crawford, on the other hand, has decided not to fight anyone until September when he meets Canelo Alvarez. Many think it's a risky move, as this worked against Errol Spence when he fought Crawford, while Crawford took a tune-up fight before facing Spence, and we know that the man who was battered was the one who fought only once that year. 16. Although it seems that the fight is more media than competitive, as Crawford fights at 154 pounds, the super welterweight, 2 categories below that of the Guadalajara native. However, both Crawford and Sheikh Turki Alalshikh were able to successfully convince Alvarez to accept the fight, for which he was asking for $150 million, despite how unconvincing the fight against Terence Crawford could be. In sporting terms, Canelo Alvarez isn't taking Crawford lightly, as Crawford's boxing skills are so rare, and it tells why he's still undefeated even after 41 fights. Trainer Robert Garcia spoke about Canelo having an advantage over Crawford and also touched on Crawford's situation and boxing skills. 17. T. Crawford is a smart man. He's already achieved everything he wanted, Garcia said in an interview with Fight Hype. He already did a lot. He doesn't need to challenge himself. He doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. I've talked to him personally, and my feeling is that he wants that big fight against Canelo, and if he doesn't get it, he might never fight again. Garcia said there are many options for Crawford in the junior middleweight category should he decide to challenge the current champions. The most attractive is the World Boxing Council and World Boxing Organization champion Sebastian Fonder. He could also challenge International Boxing Federation champion Bakram Miraz Alv. Other opponents who could make the list are Jowl, Charlo, Virgil Ortiz Jr., Siri Bohachuk, and Xander Zaz. 18. However, for Robert Garcia, Crawford no longer needs to look for another fight, as because of his outstanding career and unbeaten record, he has nothing left to prove. He already achieved it. I don't see him fighting just to please the fans who tell him he needs to fight this or that one. Garcia explained. Garcia believes that if it were about money, Crawford would have no need to fight again, as he has taken care of his fortune and has investments to back him up. His only reason to return to the ring would be to face Canelo and finish his career on a high. He's going to go out there and look for the big fight, enjoy his life, man. He's a very smart man. He's invested his money. He doesn't need to fight one more time, but he's still looking for that big fight against Canelo, and if he gets it, he'll take it. But other than that, he might never fight again, added the trainer. 19. If the fight takes place against the Guadalajara boxer Garcia, believes that Crawford can compete with Canelo for several rounds, maybe not enough to beat him, but enough to earn his respect and that of the public. Look, I think Crawford could give good rounds. I think the first 6-8 rounds would be very competitive. Crawford has skills. Crawford is very strong. He has great speed and good power to earn Canelo's respect and show him respect. But eventually, I think Canelo is too big, too strong, but for those 6 rounds, I think it would be a very entertaining fight. Garcia concluded. 20. Another boxing professional who disagrees with this is Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia recently told Fight Hub TV that his path crossed with Crawford's at last December's World Boxing Council convention in Hamburg, Germany, where he lauded him on all his accomplishments to date. Crawford is one of the best fighters that I've seen, Garcia said. 21. I told him, dude, you're a bad guy, you've been a bad guy. You don't always get the recognition because of politics and boxing and favoritism here and there, but he truly does have the skills. He's a great fighter, and he's proven it multiple times. Obviously, still Garcia questions how Crawford, who fought early in his career at lightweight, would deal with Alvarez at 168, where Canelo unified the division, and has yet to lose a fight. Alvarez has faced the likes of Needy, Golovkin, Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith, Jal Charo, and Jamie Munguia, among others at 168, which currently makes him the most experienced fighter in the division. Where do you plan on going? 164,165,166, Garcia asked. 22. Canelo ain't going to come down to 160, maybe 166 maximum. If he accepts, I think Canelo wins that fight based on just the size, the power, and size now skills. Wise, I think Crawford is a better skilled fighter, but the difference in size will be the deciding factor, and that's why I'm not even a fan of that fight, Garcia said. Crawford, a 37-year-old from Omaha, Nebraska, has accomplished all that he can in 4 divisions between 135 and 154 and acknowledges the financial lure of a Canelo fight for Crawford, who has never faced a marquee opponent, but he called on both Alvarez and Crawford to consider taking different career paths rather than facing each other. 23. As a fight fan, I'd rather see Canelo move up and fight somebody like Derv or Dimitri Bol again, Garcia said. If he wanted to challenge himself, then he should move up to 175 and challenge himself against those guys, not a smaller guy moving up. And same thing with Crawford. He doesn't need to fight Canelo. He can just fight other guys at 154. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.